for this president?
Yeah, those are very legitimate questions on both sides of the aisle. And, you know, another big question that has to be asked, Greta, is, are we at war? I haven't heard the president say that we are at war. And that's why I, too, am not knowing, do we use the term intervention? Do we use war? Do we use squirmish? What is it? What I know is that U.S. interests are not being met if Gaddafi stays in power, and if we are merely taking a back seat to the Arab League, to the United Nations, to NATO leadership, while we just kind of put our finger up in the air and decide what the political winds are around the world, not necessarily knowing and believing that the U.S. interest must come first in this.
You know, in reviewing his speech, what he said tonight, and rereading it several times, I mean, there are a lot of nuances, and I thought to myself, if in times of war that you have to explain it in nuances, it really does mean that you really don't have a clear sense of why we're there, what we're doing, what our objective is when you have to sort of go, well, it's a little bit this, a little bit that. I think that's what I found disconcerting.
That's disconcerting, but I had a little bit of hope during his speech when he mentioned the North Star. I mention the North Star so often. The North Star is part of the Alaska flag, where we up here are able to use as our GPS, as kind of our plumb line, the great North Star with its abiding light over land and sea, a beacon bright. We look at the North Star, and it helps us, I believe, it helps me stay focused on what really matters. So when the president mentioned the North Star tonight, I thought, hey, maybe he gets it. Maybe he understands what the U.S. interests are, how committed we need to be to winning in this intervention, in this war. And yet, even from there, the reference to the North Star, he kind of wandered off again and allowed more of the inconsistencies and the questions and the kind of the dubious rationale being used. More of that just was being revealed.
Governor, thank you.
Thank you so much.
The president said Wednesday is the magic day. That is the day the United States will hand over to NATO the command of the military response in Libya. But who is NATO?